Kia ora, everyone. I am delighted to be joined by Ben Young, who is the Energy Policy Advisor at Business New Zealand Energy Council. And he recently attended World Energy Week in Panama in the first couple of weeks of October. He's here today to share a little bit about the concept of humanising energy, which is a great intersection between climate and the social side of sustainability. So welcome, Ben.
Very good to be here.
I'm pleased to have you. Interested to hear a little bit more about the concept of humanizing energy. What does it, well, A, what does it mean? And B, what does it mean in practice?
So I think for the World Energy Council, it's their overarching vision, right? And I think it's an acknowledgement of the fact that right now the world's going through a pretty rapid change, both in terms of uh, energy systems and the overall kind of world that we find ourselves in. Um, and it's a question that we ask ourselves of how do we equip people and communities best to deal with that change? And so that includes investing in skills and resilience, um, as well as social equity, making sure that in this rapid change, no one's being left behind. Um, but I think more broadly than that, it's a call to kind of reconnect the energy sector with what is the actual social purpose of energy, and that's to improve the lives of billions of people around the world. I think too often, particularly in the energy sector, we talk too much about markets and technology and pricing and volume and all these sorts of technical terms, but the purpose of that energy is to improve people's quality of lives, improve the competitiveness of business, and all these kind of things that occur outside of the energy sector but are empowered by it. And I think humanizing energy is just a call to reconnect with that social purpose.
I love that. You spoke to me recently about an example of that in practice. You went to visit somewhere in Panama. Is that right?
Yes.
Where did you go
Yeah.
and what did you
So
see?
I was lucky enough to have a few days to myself in Panama, and so a few of us went out into one of the indigenous communities in the the native park in the jungle, and for them, they've only really been in contact with the outside world for the last kind of 30, 40 years, um, living a very lifestyle. And about 10 years ago, they were gifted, I think about 10 years ago, they were gifted a collection of solar panels, which was basically the first time that their community had access to electricity. And for them, that change that allowed was things as simple as their kids were allowed to study after dark now because they can now continue to read their books and things like that. And now they have people from their community going overseas to university and things like that, which would never have been able to happen without that empowerment through the solar panels and things like that. That just allowed more of that activity to take place. So that was a really cool kind of example in practice that I just happened to stumble across while I was over there, but really kind of drove home the message for me.
I love that. What a great opportunity.
Mm.
My final question to we were just bemoaning the fact that often our calls with our global contacts are in the middle of the New Zealand night. So thank you for joining us, given the fact that you were up at 3 a.m. last night. And you were talking about the energy trilemma. Could
Yes.
you give me your perspective on the energy trilemma, which is balancing energy security, equity, and environmental sustainability? Because all of these things are of interest to Sustainable Business Council members.
Absolutely. And, all three parts of the trilemma are equally important, right? And it's a really hard mission to try and balance all those things equally. And I think globally we've found, or we've seen that the last 10 years, that's kind of been a real challenge that people potentially didn't anticipate. Um, and recent conversations that we've been having is that while all three are important, energy security really is the enabler of the other two activities. If you don't have a resilient, secure system that you can rely on, you can't kind of build on that and allow for a sustainable and affordable system as well. You lose social license and all these other things that security brings. And that's not to say that things like sustainability have to take a back burner. That's not necessarily saying, oh, let's go off and build a whole bunch of coal power plants to improve our energy security. Energy security can be achieved through a whole range of different things, diversifying energy sources, improving local resilience through things like distributed energy resources. All those sorts of things can also help with energy security. But it's kind of just a reframing of what is the goal of some of these things, and energy security at the moment in the conversations I've been having definitely seems to be the base that needs to be built upon.
Nice, really helpful overview and a good take on finding that balance between all three as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ben, and welcome back from Panama, and we wish you
Cheers.
all the best for your future 3 a.m. calls.